All right, I got a question for all you amazing A+ people out there at Sunset High School in Portland, Oregon. Here we go. Whoever submitted this question, thank you. This is a question that is so important, and I've probably answered this question more than any other question in recent years because this question is about suicide. So here it goes. How do you help a friend that opens up and tells you that they are suicidal? Now, before I get into answering this question, I just want to take a moment to tell you that this question is a big deal. I wish I could sit here and tell you that suicide in recent years has gone down, especially with youth, but unfortunately, it has not gone down. It's gone up. Now, there's a lot of speculation of why that's gone up, and I can tell you there's not one particular reason. Everyone that feels suicidal has a different, unique circumstance. However, once you feel suicidal, it's pretty much the same thing. You feel like people would be better off without you. You feel like for some reason you don't offer enough to your family, your friends, or the person that you're in a relationship with. Something is going on in your life that makes you believe that life would be better with you not in it. So before I answer this question, I want to make it very clear. If you're a person listening to this question, not a person that's trying to help a friend, but you're the person actually feeling suicidal, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, 1000%, this world is better because you're in it. And every single one of your friends, not only do they need you, they won't have life experiences the same without you. So whatever mistakes you've made, whatever insecurities you feel that you bring to the table in your relationships, all those things are feelings. And even though your feelings are very real, they're not necessarily reality. So now back to the question. Here's what I want you to do when someone first tells you that they are feeling suicidal. The very first thing I want you to do is tell them thank you. Why would you say thank you, you ask? Well, that's a good question too. Because that's not something they're going to tell to just anyone. If someone opens up and tells you that they are feeling so bad in their life, that they've been thinking about taking their life, or maybe it's so extreme that they actually have intentions or have a plan to take their life, and they tell you that that's what's going on with them, that's a huge deal. That's not something you would just kind of just in passing say, hey, what's up? How you doing? How's your day? Oh, I'm a little suicidal. That's not how this conversation happens. So you must be a trusted friend. In fact, if you're listening to this YouTube video, you care so much that you Googled this, or you at least clicked on the link that someone sent you. So by you telling your friend thank you, you're just acknowledging a very simple truth, that this is a big deal to them, and you're a big deal to them as well because they trust you enough to tell you that information. Step number 2, I would like you to give them a compliment. The reason why I want you to give them a compliment is because when you receive a compliment for whatever reason in your life, if someone says, I like your hair, I like your outfit, I like your shoes, or you're pretty, you're attractive, when someone gives you a compliment, you don't get more angry, you don't get in a worse mood. It feels good. Plain and simple. Even if you don't feel like you're deserving of a compliment, if you ask anyone, would you rather someone give you a compliment or make fun of you or mock you? I'm pretty sure most people are going to say they'd take the compliment. So give your friend a compliment. And this is the type of compliment I want you to give them. Say, I know you don't normally say this to people, and so this must have been a really difficult thing for you to tell me. Because you told me this, I don't know what's causing you to feel suicidal, but whatever's causing you to feel suicidal, I can tell you right now, I see you as a very strong person. It takes a lot of bravery and a lot of courage to tell someone something so vulnerable. Giving them a compliment for expressing to you and talking about this is extremely necessary at this point, because what you're doing is you're telling that person that however they're feeling, that's not necessarily what you're seeing them as. You're seeing them as a person that even though they might be going through a hard time and feel like they're not, anything special about them, you're definitely not seeing them that way. And so their perception of themselves is different than the way you see them. This helps a lot because when someone's in a bad place, it's not like they don't know that they're in a bad place. They're looking for outside information. Otherwise, they wouldn't have shared this with you. Now, let's say your friend didn't actually tell you this, but they put it in a group chat. Let's say that they posted this online. Message them on the side. Call them, FaceTime them, get a hold of them in any way, shape, or form. Give them a compliment for being open and vulnerable. All too often, people will look at vulnerability as a sign of weakness. Well, that's one type of vulnerability. I call it victim vulnerability. But what you're telling them is you see it as a sign of strength. That's a different type of vulnerability, and I call that assertive vulnerability. Assertive vulnerability is when you or someone else makes a bold expression of something that's really personal and intimate to them, such as someone saying, I don't feel like I want to live anymore, or I feel like I'm worthless. Even though that's a bad feeling, expressing it is actually very assertive. And the definition of the word assertive means to boldly express yourself. But assertive vulnerability is simply taking that bold expression and pairing that with something very sensitive, something very close to that person's heart, even if it's something scary or if it's something self-defeating or something that's insecure about them, it's still assertively vulnerable. Now, step number 3. You are an amazing friend, which is why they're opening up to you. But you're not a professional counselor. So this step, it's really important for you to let them know that you would like to help them. And the best way you think you could help them is to help them communicate how they're feeling to someone else that could actually do something more specific, like a counselor, whether it be a school counselor. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's even one of their parents. Maybe it's a coach, someone that they trust. You want to help them make the next step and be able to hand them off to someone, specifically an adult, that has the power and the influence to take the next step. What happens a lot is a teenager will confess that they're feeling suicidal to a friend. The friend now is bearing this responsibility to come up with something that they have to figure out to help the friend. But sometimes the friend doesn't want them to tell anyone out of fear that other people will judge them. Their parents might be mad at them. People think differently, or they just may not be ready for the world to know, and the person might be thinking the worst case scenario, like if anyone else finds out about this, I'm going to be in trouble. So this is where you are the ally for them. You're that bridge that helps take them from out of their own mind, out of their own thought process, and getting them some help. So as a good friend, you're going to tell them that you would like to help them talk to someone about this. And then once you tell them that, kind of see how their response is. If they say, no, I don't want to tell anyone, and I don't want you to tell anyone, promise me you won't tell anyone, listen to them. Just let them vent that out for a second. But once they're done, also let them know, hey, you trusted me enough to tell me. I'd like to help you too, and I don't know how to help you with the next step. So let me help you talk to someone about this. So this is where you can give them a couple different choices. You can give them the choice that you can go tell someone for them, not behind their back, but tell them, I could tell someone for you to get you some help. Or B, you can help them tell a parent, a counselor, someone that can get them some help. But C, you tell them there's not the option where there's none of the below. You have to tell someone. If a friend flat out says, I can't tell anyone, I don't want you to tell anyone, this is where it gets a little bit difficult, but this is a very, very important part of the answer to this question. I've had to do this plenty of times. I've taught many teenagers how to do this, and every single time that they've done this, they get a much different response than they thought they would get. I call it a best friend narc. So as an example, when you have a best friend, your best friend knows so much about you that your best friend will encourage you to do something. And if you say, no, I'm not brave enough to do it. The example I always like to use is, let's say your best friend confesses to you that they have a crush on someone. And they keep on talking about this crush over and over and over again. But they never go and talk to the person. They see the person, you're always nudging them, hey, go tell the person you like them, go ask them, for their number, go ask them out, go ask them to a dance, whatever it may be. And if your best friend still doesn't do it, but they keep on talking about this person, at some point you're like, listen, if you don't tell them, I'm going to tell them for you. That's called a best friend narc. Best friends don't narc you out because they want you to get in trouble. Best friends narc you out because they know you need a little bit of a push because it is best for you, because they're your best friend. They know what you really want and what you really need, even if you're not willing to take the next step. So in this scenario, a best friend narc would sound like this. I don't blame you for not wanting to tell anyone. I don't blame you for not wanting me to tell anyone, but here's what I will tell you. You don't have the right to take your life when I'm here with you. Or you could say, I'm gonna make sure that you get help. And since I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna go get that help for you. I really want you to give me permission, but I can't sit here and listen to you struggle and hurt, because this hurts me too. And there's no way you're gonna go in this without me going through it with you. So we can do this together, or I can talk to someone without you, but you not getting help with this situation is not an option, because I need you. You're important to me. Mic drop. You don't need to say anything else after that. Wait to see how they respond. But if you look someone in the eye, don't text this, because this is not like a text situation. You have to FaceTime at least. But look them in the eye. Tell them, I feel very strongly about this. If you convince them with your body language and your words, using that big time mic drop moment, like you're saying, oh, I'm very confident in this. This is gonna help them get the courage to do just that, to talk about it. They're not sure what to do with their life. They're not sure how they're feeling in a lot of these situations, but you're sure of one thing, that you care about them, you love them, you have their back, whatever it may be. So you need your kind of testifying to them, like, Your Honor, I'm testifying that this is such a good friend of mine. I care about this person so much that I'm gonna help them even if they don't wanna help themselves. You would never give the keys to someone to drive a car if they've been drinking. This is a similar situation. This person's in danger and they're not in the right frame of mind. That's why you don't let someone drive drunk. This person shouldn't be making big time life decisions for themselves, because obviously they're not in the right frame of mind. Step number 4, take your time. Breathe, stay in the pocket, meaning don't run around and bounce all around. If you're scared, if you're freaked out, if you're nervous, that's normal. That's to be expected. If you've lost other people to suicide and this is really triggering for you, breathe. Take your time. They're looking at you like a mirror. If you're panicked and freaked out saying, oh, what do we do? What's going on? Why do you feel this way? Then it's going to cause them to think you may not be able to handle what they're expressing to you at this moment. I know, because so many people have confessed that they've been suicidal to me throughout the years, that the last thing a person needs is to think that they pushed you over the edge, and this is something that now is going to cause you to panic and freak out, because the last thing that they want is for you to be burdened by them. I myself was suicidal at a time in my life. In fact, I had a very serious suicide attempt. The last thing I wanted to do was be someone's project. I didn't want sympathy. I didn't want people to feel like, they had to rescue me. I didn't want to burden anyone. So when I did finally open up and tell someone, I was scared to death. Luckily, the person I told was very secure with himself, very confident, and looked me dead in the eyes and said, I love you. The tears came down. So it's very important that you make a lot of eye contact as much as possible, take your time, and breathe. Now, the final thing I want to add, this is not a step, but this is just one big blanket statement. Do not ask a bunch of questions trying to figure out how they became suicidal, why they're suicidal, and don't tell them that they shouldn't feel or think the way they're feeling and thinking. So it sounds like this. After they tell you they're feeling suicidal or thinking about suicide, don't say something like, why are you suicidal? Everyone loves you. You have a great life. Because all that's going to do is going to make that person feel you don't understand, they're telling the wrong person, and it's not going to make them feel very good and very validated, because they're thinking, gosh, this person doesn't know me as well as I thought they did. I'm just trying to work this out and sort this out and trying to express myself to them. So don't ask them a bunch of questions, and don't tell them don't feel that way. One of the worst things you could do is tell someone that their feelings are not real. in any situation. I know you would never mean to do this, but unfortunately, a lot of people say things like, don't feel that way, or you have lots of people that love you. Those statements are from good intentions, but they do not make the person feel good. So again, thank you for whoever asked this question from Sunset High School, and let's do a quick wrap up. Step 1, thank them. Step 2, give them a compliment. You're brave. You're courageous. Man, I was suicidal once before. I'm speaking of myself. And if you were suicidal, had those thoughts or feelings, I would have said to someone, I've been suicidal before. I've thought about those things. I've had those feelings. And I was not going to tell anyone. I'm so amazed. And I'm impressed how everything you got going on, you were able to talk about this. Give them that compliment. Step number 3, tell them you would like to help them talk to someone about this. School counselor, real counselor, parents, suicide hotline, whatever the resources are in your community. We will post some of the resources that are nationwide, but make sure you tell them you want to help them talk about this to someone, or if they're too scared or they don't know where to start, you can start that conversation for them. But there's not a third option of you not talking about it. And if they do not want those first 2 options, that's when you got to bring in the best friend narc out. You simply state to them, you care so much, they mean so much to you, that not doing anything about this is not an option, and you would like them to allow you and give you permission to help you. But if they are continuously saying, no, you can't tell anyone, you let them know that you're going to have to tell someone, because you couldn't live with yourself if you didn't. Step number 4, remember to take your time. People that breathe, take their time, seem more confident. You're more secure with the words that you're saying. Don't feel rushed or pressured. You have time. Unless they've just taken a bunch of pills or have done something drastic, you have time because they're talking to you about this. So please take your time. And the final one, which is not an actual step, is you got to make sure you do not ask them a bunch of questions about why do they feel this way? How come they're going through this? And definitely don't tell them that they shouldn't feel this way. They shouldn't have these thoughts. You do not want to dismiss their thoughts in an attempt to try to make them feel better. This does not make people feel better. It makes them feel like you don't understand. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my video. And if you liked it and it gave you some interesting ideas about how to deal with the drama in your life, like, subscribe, share, shoot, you know what to do. And if you want to raise your hand to ask the teacher a question, simply put your question in the comment box. Thanks for watching, Mr. Cos.